Good morning, Marina, and welcome to everyone who is watching today. It's wonderful to see you here. The Hopenning is a place where hope happens when you open yourself up to it. Marina and I have created a space that is positive, uplifting, and more than anything, always brings hope. I, Fran, am a rapid transformational therapy practitioner part-time. I am also a full-time 33-year veteran teacher in Northern Alberta, Canada, teaching elementary age children. My friend Marina is a full-time rapid transformational therapy practitioner. She has a background in music and was pretty much singing, but before she could even talk. Marina sings with a big band currently and also part owner in a Christmas caroling business. Welcome, Marina, and welcome everyone who is viewing today. So today, oh, you're welcome. Today we have a question and answer session and regarding questions that have been submitted to us about money and luck. So Marina, our first question is, what is a money block?
That's a very good question. A good kickoff. Thank you, Fran. Yes, we've talked about money blocks, but you never realized for us working with it so often, it's not something that's really out there. So that was very interesting when somebody said, but what is a money block? To me, a money block is when somebody believes that having money is not available to them, or they're not good enough for them, or whatever reason it is. It's a block in their thinking that keep money from flowing. To me, that is exactly what a money block is. And for what we do is we help people to get rid of that block, to think in a different way. So what would you say is a money block?
I totally agree. And what I can hear someone out there saying right now, but I like money. How is that a mind thing? I like money. I want money. And my answer to that would be, it's not in the 5% of your conscious mind that's blocking the money. It's the 95% that's in your subconscious mind. So even though the 5% of you is like, bring it on, the 95% of you, for whatever reason, has been programmed into you, and your subconscious mind still believes that you're unworthy, that you're not good enough, that it's not available to you, or that you're different than everybody else, and you just can't have it.
Now, another thing that I was actually, when I prepared for this yesterday, I was listening to an interview by Oprah Winfrey of Abraham Hicks. And not everybody will know about Abraham Hicks. Not everybody will agree with Abraham Hicks, but Abraham was, or Esther Hicks was the inspiration with her book, The Law of Attraction, behind the movie, The Secret. And The Secret became all about money because money sells. People want money. They want to know how to get money. And I think that's part of the reason why I do get a lot of clients who say, well, I want money. I want to do that. It's about more than money. And I think it ties in with luck. It's about abundance. What do you have in abundance? What do you already have in abundance? I have an abundance of oxygen. I have that. Other people may have an abundance of energy. I think in the modern world that we both live in, we have an abundance of food always available to us easily. I have an abundance of good friends. I have an abundance of love in my life. I have so many things that is in abundance. And once you take the focus of money and you start to focus on what you already have, that is in abundance, money just becomes part of that.
I agree.
So this ties into a lot of the questions we've had. And I think, Fran, before we go further, I would love to share my screen because A lot of what we talked, you and I, as well as our guest, that ties into lack, luck, and money and abundance can be summed up in this picture. So I'm going to share my screen. I absolutely love this because if we look at the big circle, as we say, what we focus on is the thing that will expand. You will get more of that. So if you focus on, oh my gosh, how am I going to pay my bills this month? I'm so worried about finances. I'm so worried about world hunger. I'm so worried about the war. I'm so worried about things. Unfortunately, that is the thing that will always be in the top of your mind. You will notice it. That's the thing that will increase. And then a lot of times our worries involve things that we don't know is going to happen. My husband is late. What if What if my husband was in an accident? Was my husband really in an accident? Do I know for a fact that he was? No, it's my imagination. So we worry about things that can't potentially happen. And then there's a little dot down there about the things that do happen. But all these other things are overshadowing the reality of the things that do happen. And so if we can help anybody to focus and have a laser sharp focus on the things that do happen, and a lot of people say, stay in the present moment, then you will definitely see a change in your life.
Well, Marina, this really is a good segue into question 2. My parents couldn't handle money, so I'm afraid to be like that. What can I do to get rid of money anxieties? I'm afraid to spend my money.
That's a really good question, Fran. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. So we both shared some of our experiences, and in my life, I think that really hits home for me because my parents' money story was my money story for a long time until I changed my story. And sometimes I think it's a good thing to be afraid of being like your parents. I laughed out loud because I saw a while back, I saw a meme that said, sometimes I open my mouth and I hear my mother coming out. And I had to laugh like, oh, yeah, my biggest fear. So if you don't want to be like your parents with money, don't be like your parents with money. We live in a society where we believe, and it's just a belief, and I want to talk about what a belief is. We believe that there's nothing better for us. This is all there is. We believe it. We believe that, well, my parents that couldn't handle money, I didn't learn to handle money because my parents never taught me. Then change that. And yes, sorry, go ahead.
I think about the way subliminally, right? Subliminally, we were as a sponge, kind of like a sponge as a child, and you continue to hear certain things that your parents say in regards to everything, right? You're a child, you are starting to put the Lego blocks together in your mind. And sometimes the Lego blocks build something that was not really intended to be built. And so suddenly we have this idea about money, this idea about relationships, this idea about whatever. And it really wasn't it really wasn't truth, right? On the odd day when your mom checked her purse and there was no money inside the purse, because of the high anxiety of that moment, that's what our brain focused on. Or when we went to the store and mom looked at the jeans and she said, those are way too expensive. Who do you think you are that we should buy jeans that were that expensive? Well, because of the feeling that went through us at the time, let's listen to the words. Who do you think you are too? and then fill in the blank. So in a child's mind, because of the feeling that went through us at the time, whether it was shame or guilt or high anxiety or whatever it was, we took that feeling on and made that a reality in our little girl mind, because that's what we learned, right? It doesn't have to be as an adult. And yet, unfortunately, that is what pervades in our lives often as adults. This is what my parents said, so this is what I believe.
Now, I just had a flashback of a situation that happened in my life more than once. I was a child when, and I mean, grew up in the 70s, 80s. I was in the grocery store with my mom. It's in the days when you used cash. And my mom had all these groceries and she took her money out and she did not have enough. And my mom's anxiety and almost fear and embarrassment was something that I learned. And it was not long after that when it was Christmas, and it was one of the first Christmases that my parents said, there's allowance for you, go buy everybody Christmas presents. Not understanding the value of money, I loaded the cart full and I went to the till. And it's Christmas time, you know how busy stores can be in Christmas time. And there was a store in downtown Bloemfontein where I grew up by the name of the C&A. It was like a bookstore. And I remember buying something for all my siblings. And by the time I got to the till, I did not have enough money. And that same fear that I saw in my mom, almost not fear because she had a lack, but fear because at that moment she didn't plan to have enough money with her. And more the embarrassment than anything else was something that at that moment I personally felt. And later on, on my way home from university, there was a grocery store. My mom once asked me, go buy me, there's a list, there's a shopping list, there's cash, go buy me all these things. And the same happened. By the time I paid, my mom didn't give me enough cash and I didn't have any other cash on me. And I felt embarrassed. So as an adult, after my divorce in 2003, I did not have enough money. I struggled financially. And it happened with me that I once went to the grocery store. And when I wanted to pay for my groceries, the transaction was declined. And the same feeling of embarrassment came up in me. So it was around that time that I decided, well, change the way you handle money. Make a list, make a budget, know exactly how much money you have to spend in your account, and then be responsible with what you load in your cart. Change. And now, if that happens, I know that somebody hacked my account because I have changed my behavior.
And that's part of the reason that we say your mindset needs to change, but also you need to do the footwork, right?
Yeah.
You can manifest, you can meditate, you can put that idea out there to the universe, but unless you also do the footwork involved, you're going to not have as good of a chance of manifesting what you believe to happen. Right. And I think that goes really well into how do my fears and thoughts about money influence my children? And how can I make sure they have healthy relationships with money?
Right. We had a couple of questions around how can I teach my children and how can I teach my children not to be afraid of money? And I think, our episode last week was such a beautiful example of teaching kids to be responsible with money. And sometimes, I look at my two children. It's my baby's 25th birthday today. And I look at them and they both are extremely responsible with money. And it was more out of need than really knowing what I was doing. When they were young, in those really poor days, and they wanted to keep up with their friends. And it was the days of Game Boys and all these game consoles. I cannot even remember all the names. I remember Game Boys, and I wanted Game Boys. I couldn't buy them Game Boys. I could hardly put food on the table. So a friend of mine told me that there is a flyer route available in our neighborhood. And if the boys do it together, they would be able to get some pocket money without me being to worry about it. And it was a really good amount of money that they got as elementary school age children to go one day a week to go deliver flyers. And they did that for a few years until we moved and we couldn't get a new flyer route in our neighborhood. And they made good money. And they could buy themselves things that I couldn't afford to buy. And honestly, I always said that I think one of the biggest elements in my success as a parent is the grace of God. And that's one situation where I know that my kids learned. And then if you listen to the story that Stacy told last week about her daughter wanting to learn how to manage money. So what else would you say, Fran?
Yeah, I agree. We need to teach children from tiny the value of money. And it's interesting because as a teacher, our school has kindergarten all the way up to grade 12. And I see this. I see high school, junior high kids throwing money away. And it's quarters, dimes, nickels, whatever. It's, it's this interesting philosophy that, it's only a quarter. And they'll throw it on the ground. It's weird. In my idea of life, it's just weird. And some of my small students, grade 5s, will see a quarter or a nickel or a penny or whatever, maybe not pennies anymore in Canada, but they'll say, well, it's only a penny, or it's only a pop can. That's another thing, right? It's only a pop can, Mrs. Cadrone. Why would you bother picking that up? And I always say, it's 5 cents. If you pick that up, you are telling the universe, you're telling God, you're telling the powers that be that you like money. If you throw it away, if you throw it out the window, if you throw it on the ground, you're telling the universe that you don't need it. And kids are interesting. They listen to stuff, right? I wish that I would have gotten a hold of these junior and senior highs when they were, the age that I would teach them, because my own children absolutely would never have done that, because they understood because they learned that from me. And it's at the time when my children were small, it was a little woo-woo to be saying that. However, even way back in the day, I was maybe 20, and my boss sent me uptown to buy, the kind of coffee and coffee mate and sugar for the office. I came back, I gave him the receipt. He handed me $10 or something it was, and it was like maybe $10.07. And I said, no, keep the change. And he goes, Fran, $10.07. And he counted it out. He said, if you never save your pennies, you will never save your dollars. And I remembered that, right? Because this man had the experience to understand that. So saving is important, but it's also your mindset about money that's important too. Be careful what you decide to throw away, because you're telling the universe, you tell the powers that be what you actually believe about it.
It's interesting because to me, it brings up almost a conflicting thought here. When you go to the store and you pay, like it happens in Canada a lot. For example, you go to Walmart and now everything is electronic. So you pay with your debit card, and then there's a question, would you like to donate an amount to the Children's Hospital Foundation. And a lot of times, actually most of the time, I would say yes. I would say $2. And then I would think to myself, it's only $2. And so what you're saying to me suddenly comes up like, but am I throwing $2 away? So let's talk about that.
I like that question. So when you say it's only $2, I think we need to change what we say. If you were to rephrase that and make a conscious effort of rephrasing it, instead of saying, I'd love to donate $2 because every penny counts.
To me, in another way is also, and I think this is one of the lessons I've learned. Sometimes when I give that $2, I do that with a thought of gratitude that I have $2 to freely give. And my husband is one of those people who would very frequently feel that whenever he gives a large amount of money to charity, there's always a blessing that comes his way. And he loves it. So from time to time, he would give money to, because we love dogs, to the Humane Society or the adoption agency we adopted our animals from, or the Cancer Society, I think, or autism, things that touched our lives personally, we would donate money. And within no time, there would be a huge blessing coming his way. And he would always say, yeah, I'm never surprised because I like to give. And that's a biblical principle as well, right?
Absolutely.
And so it's really interesting for me to see that. And, you know, we talk about mindset a lot. So, yeah, what do you believe? What is your belief telling you? If you really listen to yourself and listen to what you believe, what is the outcome?
And you talk about Walmart, and I've seen that as well. Even to create a belief that is, I really appreciate Walmart for taking the initiative to do good things for the Children's Aid Society or whatever. It's that double belief, right? It's a double, I would love to donate because every penny counts. I really appreciate that Walmart is taking the initiative to make a change, a positive change, because I think sometimes many of us will go, oh, Walmart, you know, they don't pay their people enough, and they have their, they source out to, you know, countries where there's child labor, and which is true. But to dwell on that rather than on the positive is also not healthy. It's not a healthy mindset. It's not a mindset of appreciation or gratitude either. And I think it's super important to be realistic, but also to appreciate where there is opportunity to appreciate.
I want to look at this question about what can I do to get rid of anxieties, money anxieties? And this person also said, I'm afraid to spend my money. I appreciate this because I used to work with seniors, and when you get to a certain age, one of your biggest fears is, am I going to outlive my money? And when you're younger, you never think of things like that, but money and anxiety. So what would you suggest? How do people get rid of that?
It's look at your underlying belief first. It's, where did this anxiety come from? Was it because you struggled in a household when you were a child? Was it because you were a single parent for a while and you did have to struggle? Where do these underlying beliefs about anxiety, about money come from? I had an interesting discussion just the other day. A friend of mine on Facebook was saying, why is the government giving a fairly large check to households that have children in them right now? it was given out. And I made the comment that, well, it's because children are expensive to raise in general, right? I mean, they have sports, we're driving them around, they outgrow their clothes. There's a lot of things that children need. And I was grateful to the government for giving that to families that haven't had a chance to have a birthday party for their children in 2 years because we weren't allowed to, right? And so finally, yes, we have an opportunity to give. But there were some people that questioned that and said it wasn't fair, that more money should be going to the elderly, the old people. And they assumed that giving money to the senior citizens accounted is at the same level as respect. They said that giving money was the same as giving respect. And I just thought that was very odd, because in my mind, those are two different things. Respect has nothing to do with money. Respect has to do with care, attention, feelings, compassion, gratitude, all of those things. So I think that there's a mixed message out there about about that's going on in the world, about who really needs the money here. Who needs the money? A struggling family that's paying for a mortgage, or a senior citizen who has downsized? They eat very little. They're not raising anybody. I think that senior citizens came from a place where, yes, you absolutely did have the children to raise and the mortgage and put away for retirement and all of this kind of stuff. But to trust and believe that, yes, I did a good job. I did a good job. I will be fine in my retirement. And I may live a long, long, long time, but I trust and believe that what I have done before will be sufficient for me. And not only that, because I give, because I still donate, because I'm still active as much as I can in doing good in the world, I will get that benefit back to me in ways that may or may not include money.
And you know, Fran, with the kind of work that you and I do, our job is to go and investigate, where did those anxious thoughts originate? What is the root cause of the anxiety? And to go help you to change that belief. A belief is something that you repeat over and over and over to yourself until you believe it.
Yeah,
it's not
recurring
always
thought.
the truth. It's
Yes.
not always the truth. I can believe with everything I have that the sky is falling. And I think in the last 2 years of our lives, we have witnessed such contrasting beliefs and division in the world because of people's beliefs and what they subscribe to. So
Yeah,
go find the root cause. If you want to do this on your own, sit, close your eyes, think to yourself, where did this thought about anxiety with money, where did that come from? What is my money story? If I think of what I suggested during my episode was to write a money journal and talk to money like a positive thing. In my case, I use blessing. And when did money become something to be anxious about? Go think, go investigate. Big part of our job is to investigate what is the root cause. So if you want to know how you can handle, how you can get rid of that anxiety, go find out where did it start and go change the meaning.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the fear of spending money. Fear of spending money is fear of lack, fear of running out.
Yeah. Fear of not enough.
Yeah.
Not enough. which recurs over and over and over. And we hear it so many times. In our practice, we hear the words, not enough, not good enough, not enough of whatever. And money just kind of falls right into that pattern.
Right.
And why does money seem to slip through my fingers? That's another of our questions. Why does money slip through my fingers?
What do you believe?
I have heard people say this.
Right. If you believe money slips through your fingers, think of that screen I shared earlier. If you believe, if that big circle is the belief that you cannot hold on to money, that it's slipping through your fingers, isn't that what's going to happen? Isn't that what's going to expand?
And it won't matter how much money you receive. It doesn't matter how hard you work or the extent of your education, how well educated you are, what you inherit. If you believe that money slips through my fingers, you won't be able to hang on to it.
So our mentor, Marissa Peer, just came out with this amazing book. I have it here. Tell Yourself a Better Lie. Money slipping through your fingers is not even a reality. Money can maybe sometimes when you hold a handful of coins, yeah, money can slip through your fingers. But in reality, it's a lie. Tell Yourself a Better Lie. Marissa Peer's new book is great.
The magnet. I am a money magnet.
So tell yourself a better lie that you can believe in. I am a money magnet.
I'm a money magnet.
Money flows through me. Money sticks to me.
Money just comes so easily, effortlessly.
Change the story.
Change the story. Change the words. Change the whatever. Marina, take me out for supper tonight.
Sure. Absolutely. I would love to.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, because really, because wouldn't the first question be, Fran, it's your turn to pay. Or it could be, what could be whatever. It's like, But instead, let's change the automatic thought that comes into our head. I would love to.
Yeah.
I would love to spend my money on you, Marina.
Absolutely.
I would love to spend my money in such a way.
I'm a great cook. I'll cook you a very nice meal.
There you go. There you go.
Most of the time, if my friend Susan is watching, most of the time, Susan, I had a meal when I had Susan and her husband over recently, and every single dish I made flopped. First time in my life that happened. And the other night where I had friends over again, and the lady said, Marina, you're the best cook I know. I said, tell that to Susan. So Susan, if you're watching, this is for you.
Yeah. Good. Okay. I have a lot of money, but I still don't have luck, Marina. That's another question. I have a lot of money, but I still don't have luck.
So define luck. I would love to talk to this person. Thinking. Please email me. Please talk to me. I would love to know what do you define as luck? What is luck to you?
It could be that I didn't get the lucky husband draw. I didn't win that lucky husband lottery, or I didn't have the good luck to be able to get those good teachers in school where they would have taught me how to do algebra properly. And that's why I didn't get a chance to go to university.
Changing perspectives, changing what you focus on is the biggest gift that we can give ourselves in life. I had a client contacting me the other day who wanted to change her husband. And I said to her, but I cannot change your husband. I cannot. If your husband comes to me and say, I am acting in a way that doesn't serve my wife, can you help me? Yeah, absolutely. And I said to her, but what I can gift you is to love yourself so much that what your husband does, in that screenshot share I had earlier, What your husband does is the thing that you're focusing on right now. It's him. What about you? You're that little tiny dot in the middle. Let's make you bigger. Let's make the value of you, the gift of your life, that heart that's beating you. Let's make that bigger so that you can find the joy in you. So that your husband starts to look at you in a different way. So that you start to look in a different way. I cannot change your husband, but I can help you find the love within yourself. And I've seen this too many times to dismiss this. I've had husbands thanking me because, wow, what did you do with my wife? It's an absolute joy to be with her. I've had that many times.
And did the husband change? No.
Is it relevant? Maybe they've fallen in love with a wife again. But where it comes in with luck, black and luck. It's confusing. Where it comes in with luck is, where do you focus on? Where do you define luck? What if you look in the mirror every day and say, I am so lucky to be here? If you go and find luck in other things, it's the same as abundance. Mm-hmm. Before you know it, your entire life will be full of it.
And change what you're seeing. I am so lucky to have my health. I am so lucky to have such amazing friends. I am so lucky to have a good food on the table and a healthy mind, and there's just so many ways you can define luck. Well, when you say the word luck will grow, right? I am so lucky to do this. I'm so lucky to be able to. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. And so pretty soon it just continues. This luck grows and grows and grows, and you begin to see the luck everywhere you look. You begin to see it, and then you change your mind, change your words, you change your words, which change your belief, which change your actions, and it's this revolving circle.
Right. So for this person who asked the question, I want to tell you, go write this again. I am so lucky that I have all this money. And then see if it's still relevant to say, but I still don't have luck. Actually, you do. I am so lucky to have all this money. You have luck. So it's always, what do you have? Focus on what you have. Be grateful for what you have.
Yeah. And appreciate it.
Right.
Appreciate.
So the next question is for you. How long will it take me to manifest luck and good fortune?
That fast.
If you want to.
If you want to.
There are no guarantees, though. There are no guarantees.
Right. There's no guarantees in the world, but there is a guarantee that where you put your focus, you see. So just like you just said a moment ago, if I focus on the fact that, hey, when I got up this morning, I am so lucky. I got to go for a run this morning and the streets were not icy. I am so lucky. Was that good luck to be able to run on the street that had no ice on it? Absolutely, because it might not have been. I am so lucky this morning. There's power so that I can get on this vlog with you, Marina. Exactly. I am so lucky. I am so lucky that I am on day 26 with no coffee. I am so lucky. I know, awesome, right? So I'm drinking this mushroom concoction.
And you're lucky.
I am so lucky I'm drinking this mushroom stuff that's supposed to be super healthy for me, right? It's about what you focus on, what you choose to focus on, and that just continues to generate wealth. I mean, it does. It continues to generate it. And I don't know, I don't understand it, but it's truth. It is truth.
It reminds me of what we talked about with Stacy last week, is that glass ceiling. And my husband and I had a long discussion about this yesterday. If you say, well, I haven't got lucky yet, or I haven't had good fortune yet because this thing is happening in my life and it is stopping me from getting beyond that because this person at work doesn't like me, or, I got divorced, so I had to give half of all my money away, or I had to do this. So, I just couldn't get a break. I'm just, what are you focusing on? You're focusing on the bad luck. You're focusing on the misfortune, on this thing that happened to me, or this person at work that's not nice, or there's this glass ceiling. What if you don't look at that anymore? A lot of times people with, this is a physical thing, people with tinnitus, or some people call it tinnitus, or I don't even know. The moment I stop listening for it, it goes away.
As soon as you just said tinnitus, I started hearing mine.
Right. Someone once said, every time you hear your ears ringing, it's the angels talking to you. I'm like, yay, I hear angels.
Yeah. So how long does it take to manifest good luck?
Immediately.
Yeah.
When you start to focus on it.
Yeah. Are we on our last question, Marina? And this is a deep one.
We have a few more, but which one would you want to go to?
You know what? I think that we've covered a lot of them already within what we've said. But this last one, what about the high extent of poverty in the world? How do you account for that?
Fran, I had a little bit of a discussion about this before we started to record. And this is where people may disagree with me and think I'm radical, but Dr. Joe Dispenza, I'm an extremely big fan of his, started the Coherence Project many years ago. And please go read up on it, because he would take people all around the world at a very certain point in time to all meditate on something positive at the same time. And amazing things happened all around them. And I'm of the belief that we as a society, if we start to be positive together, can get rid of a lot of negative in our lives. There's so much greed happening. There's so many people who want more. And with that, they also create a lack. They create that energy of division, of difference between what I have and what others have. I believe that if we as a society start to focus on how blessed we are, and everybody does that, we can change our entire life. I'm gonna go as, I almost want to ask your permission if I can go as radical as I expressed myself before we recorded.
I believe that yes, absolutely. Go for it.
I believe that if every person right now starts to focus on the good health we have, that whatever virus or plague or disease is going around in the world, if we stop looking for it, like stop listening for the tinnitus, stop focusing on the glass ceiling, if we start to ignore it and start to be, every time we think of, oh my gosh, what if I get this? You say, I'm so happy. I'm so grateful for the tremendous health that I have. If all of us as a society start to do that, it will go away. I believe that.
I believe it too. And I believe that anxiety, which is often created by watching too much news. A friend of mine actually said, if you're going to listen to the news, do not watch the visuals, because the visuals are what put the picture in your mind that really stay there, right? So if you're going to do the news, listen to it only, don't watch it. And just remember, every news station has has an agenda, in one way or the other. There's an agenda, and there are people that are paying. They're paying to keep that news station going. So if we can just approach it with the mindset of belief, a belief in the good of the world, the belief that there's a power greater than whatever is going on in the world. There's a power within humanity that's greater than anything that could possibly try to dislodge and create havoc. There's a power greater. And so in my mind, that's what I adhere to. I adhere to the power that's greater. And it's like whether you believe that we can, if we all have the mindset of good health, if we all have the mindset of good fortune, if we all have the mindset of abundance and gratitude and life, that can be manifested. That can be. There's more power in good than there is in evil. And
yeah. And I believe the exact same with poverty around the world. I believe exactly the same with the climate. That if we start to focus on what we have, things to be grateful for. If you are grateful for what you have, you value it. So we can heal so many things. And if you start to become a positive force to everybody in your life, and it becomes contagious so that they become positive with you. I know that my household, we have a very positive life, my husband and I. We live in absolute gratitude for each other. There's not a day that we do not express gratitude for the relationship we have. And it's the kind of relationship movies are made from. But every day we recreate that just by feeling so grateful that we have each other, that we have this life. We have an amazing life. Every day I'm grateful for my children. I get to babysit my grandbaby a lot. I'm so grateful for him. It's such a blessing. If you count your blessings, and if you take it out of your hands and you go to work, and instead of focusing on this problem and that problem, start to shift. Be grateful that you have a job, you have an income, and then nitpick. Break it down into more. Be grateful that you can help. Every job on this planet is created to help in a situation.
Yeah. So Marina, it's been a wonderful month of luck and manifesting good fortunes, and that which could be money, it could be whatever. And so we are transitioning into April now, and April for us on Hopenning becomes a month where we talk about grief and loss. And one of the reasons that we have chosen this next month to be about grief and loss is my very close sister lost her husband in April 3 years ago. And so for me, it's quite dedicated to her as she moves through her grief. And so our first guest will be an expert in grief and loss by the name of Chaz Wesley. We are very fortunate and very grateful that he will be joining us next week. He has a wealth of knowledge, having worked with hospice for 25 years, and so many people have died in his arms. And he not only works with dying people, he works with grief recovery. So we will be welcoming him next week.
That's amazing. I am so thrilled that we will have him with us next week. Thank you, Fran.
Me too.
Well, everybody have a wonderful week, and we will see you next week for episode 19.
So exciting. See ya.
Take care.